everybody, it's Julianne from Cary Quilting Company in Cary, North Carolina. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, and I have a small quilting confession to make. Yesterday, I accidentally showed you too much fabric. Yep, it's true. Our inventory manager, Lori, always gives me a printout so I know what I'm talking about when I get to work in the morning. And I neglected to see that little line right in the middle of the printout that said, this next set is for Tuesday. So yesterday I showed you all of the things that I was supposed to show you for Monday plus Tuesday. So today I'm going to show you what I was working on here in my home sewing studio this past weekend. This is my Cherry Wood Challenge entry for 2024. But the really fun thing about it is, hopefully you can see that, and if not, I'm going to show you in more detail later. I put some water droplets on the surface of the quilt made with UV activated resin. So I want to show you how I figured out what that was and what you can do with it. And then I'm also going to show you some practical applications for the UV activated resin as well. Okay, we've got the overhead view on now. And I wanted to show you in more detail the dripping resin that I put on my cherry wood quilt. So you can see some of those little drip marks, like this one right here, where the dripping is kind of coming off of the leaves. Same with like these over here. And it gives it that dew in the morning kind of feel. So I wanted to show you how I did this and why I did this, and then how you can do it too. Let's see, let me fold that up so you can see the top half. And the fun thing about it is it's not really obvious until you tip it in the light, and then you can really see it. But if you're just looking at the quilt straight on, it's almost an afterthought, which is really fun, I think. Okay, so what I did was I started with blown glass beads, and the blown glass beads looked like beads on top of the surface. And I really wanted it to look like dewdrops on the actual flower petals. So I found this on Amazon. It's called UV resin. It just comes in a small bottle like this, although you can get it bigger. And it also comes with this little pen light that is a UV light or a black light. So the way this works is you drip the resin on the fabric and then you hit it with the black light, and that's what solidifies the resin. So I got a couple of pieces of fabric from the shop that I thought would be fun to experiment with. Now these fabrics started with bubbles already printed on them, but I thought it would be fun to add some bubble detail so that you can really appreciate what happens with this resin. So it comes out of the bottle a little bit like glue, kind of like a wet glue. And see, we have a drop right there. And then all you have to do is hit it with the black light for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then it will already be hard. See, that is already hard. It's amazing, and it's so fun to play with. So let me pick that up so you can see it. See that bubble bursting right off the surface of the fabric. Hopefully you can see it, because it's hard for me to see what you're seeing with my current camera setup here. Let's do a few more just for fun. Here's a really, sometimes you get air bubbles in the resin, so I just rubbed that off. Here's a really tiny one. So let's just do a little tiny bubble and hit that with the light. And as soon as you hit it with the light, it's seriously amazing. It just starts getting hard right away. It's really, really fun to play with. Now let's do this other guy right here. You do have to be careful, I found out, about hitting the light onto the dropper, because the dropper itself will solidify. And then you have to figure out how to peel that off so that you can get resin to pour out of the bottle again. So live and learn, but you don't have to do what I did. So there we have 3 drops, and if I tap on them right there, hopefully you can hear that. They're literally hard plastic at this point. So hopefully you can see that surface embellishment on that fabric, and you can hear it when I tap it. So another fun way to use this, and I definitely did this with my own quilt, is to make drips. And the way that I make drips, I actually hung my quilt up on my design wall, but this will show you just as well. You're just going to put some resin on the fabric while it is, while gravity is taking hold, and then you will hit it with the light whenever you want to. So it's going to run and drip until I hit it, but as soon as I shine the light on it, it freezes. Not literally freezes, but it stops moving and it immediately gets hard. So you can kind of determine the timing and length of your drips and see that's already hard. It's so cool. And another thing I found out yesterday when I was working on my quilt is if you want, you can actually add resin on top of a drip like this, and you can get it to drip even more, or you can lean it so it kind of goes off the edge and shine the light on it whenever you want to. So one of the things that I thought would be fun is to make drips that actually come off of the surface of the quilt, depending on, you know, what you're going to do with it, whether it's an art quilt or something that might get used. So you probably wouldn't want things coming off the surface if it was something that was going to be used, but look at that. It's so fun because it still looks entirely like it's wet, but it is all the way dry. It is so fun to play with. So here's another piece of fabric I grabbed from the shop that I thought would be fun to play with. Let's get this piece of fabric over here. Again, more bubbles. You don't have to use fabric with bubbles. I just thought it would be fun to enhance the bubbles that were already in the fabric design. So there was an air bubble in that one. So you can make a nice big fat bubble and hit it. And obviously the bigger the resin blob is, the longer it's going to take with the light. And they do sell stronger UV lights as well. This one is pretty underpowered as far as UV lights go, but it does the job. Now, I will tell you, this stuff stinks, like big time stinks. So you're probably going to want to do this on a day when you can open a window, but you wouldn't want to go outside with it because it is UV activated. And of course, the sun is projecting UV rays. So you'd want to do it inside, but you could definitely do it on a nice day when you could have some ventilation in your space because it is not a pleasant smell. Now let's do another drip on this one just for fun. Let's see if I can roll that in a way that we can get it to drip off the edge. Hopefully, let's see if I tip it like this, maybe you can see it a little better. So we're going to put a nice good blob on there and see how far we can get it to roll before we hit it. How about there? It's so fun to me how when you hit the bottom of this, it just stops. But the cool thing is if you only hit the bottom, then all the wet stuff up here continues to pool up at the bottom, which makes that nice big raindrop effect at the bottom. So again, even though this looks like it is entirely wet, it is dry and it is hard. It's so neat. It's seriously so fun. I love when I come across products that can be used in different ways than intended. On Amazon, this is sold as a product that you use to repair things quickly. So one of the ways that they recommend using it is to repair eyeglasses or to repair other things that have come apart that you can easily kind of push them together and then use that UV light to make the glue solidify. So it's really not even intended for fabric, but I love pushing the limits of what can happen. And the other thing that I think is neat with fabric is that it's really hard to get it off of here. Like it sinks into the fibers of the fabric, which you can see on the back here. So it really can't be peeled off or pulled off because now it's literally a part of the fabric, which is pretty fun. Definitely, you want to make sure that you're doing it on something that you definitely want it to happen on because once it's on there, I don't think it's coming off. Another cool thing that I thought might be a good way to use this is if you make a lot of bags and the bags have flat bottoms on them, sometimes they have little buttons or nubs that stick out on the bottom of the bag. And you could take the UV resin and give yourself a nice big circle and then hit that with the light. And that could become one of the feet on the bottom of your bag. And so then that keeps your fabric off of any surfaces where you're going to put your bag down. But it also serves as one of those little foot buttons that goes on the bottom of the larger flat-bottomed bags. And it will never come off and it will always be there for you. And it does have just a bit of tackiness to it. Like you can see, this is still hot because I just finished it, but there's a little bit of tackiness, which I'm sure goes away over time, but I honestly haven't been playing with it long enough to know when that goes away. But I think that that could also help with making sure that the bag stays put, because a lot of those rubber feet do also have like kind of a tacky component to them, and it keeps your bag from sliding around. So just another thought of a way that you could use that on the bottom of a bag, and that would be really easy to apply even after the whole bag is finished. Just flip the bag over and stick these guys right on the bottom. So there you have it. Again, this is called UV Resin. It's sold on Amazon and probably lots of other places. I'm going to guess that all of it smells horrible, but who knows? Maybe just the batch I got smells horrible. And it usually comes with one of these little UV lights. Again, this one's very tiny, but they're really easy to find all over the place as well. So that's what I have for you today. It was really fun for me to play with. Hopefully the people who judged the Cherry Wood Challenge feel the same. But if they don't, it's fine because I had a great time using it. So that's my tip for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and be sure to give us a like and a subscribe if you did, so that you don't miss other fun content that I'm going to be showing you soon. Thanks. Bye.